Students, today we are going to discuss the last topic in the series called polarization of light. As everybody knows, that light is a form of electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves means it is transverse in nature. That means vibrations of electric field is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of light waves. Actually, light contains two electric field vectors which are varying with the time. Varying with the time means every time the magnitude and direction of electric and magnetic field vectors are varying. These two fields, namely electric field and magnetic field, both are perpendicular to each other. But in this topic, we will take only electric field vector vibrations, because the optical effect of light is only due to the variations of electric field vector only. The phenomenon of polarization, when we talk about, I should say that it is the phenomenon of restricting vibration of transverse wave in a particular direction. Vibration of transverse wave means vibration of the electric field vector in a particular direction perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave is called polarization. Because light contains an electric field, and electric field is a vector quantity that can be resolved into two components, and the intensity of light is due to these two electric field vectors which are mutually perpendicular to each other. Actually, it is one electric field that can be thought of consisting of two components. These two components are perpendicular to each other. If one of the components of this electric field is removed, then the intensity is reduced to half. That is what is called polarization. So in polarization, what we want to understand is one component, that means the total electric field is supposed to be consisting of two fields, two mutually perpendicular fields. One of the mutually perpendicular fields, when removed, then the electric field vector is confined to vibrate in a single plane. Hence, the intensity of light is reduced to just half. If I is the intensity, after polarization means after removal of one component, one part of the electric field, its intensity is reduced to half. This is what is called the phenomenon of restricting vibration of transverse waves in a particular direction. Perpendicular direction of propagation of the wave is called polarization. So all these things I have said, this is just half. That means the intensity of electric field that is resolved with two components. One component is restricted and one component is absorbed by a medium. Then the intensity of light is just reduced to half, that is I0 by 2. Now it contains electric field vector vibrating in a single plane only. Then we say that the light is completely plane polarized. Intensity is reduced to half. Light can be polarized by a Polaroid also. That Polaroid means it is a crystal. That crystal has a speciality. That speciality means it has a crystallographic axis. If unpolarized light is shown here, this is unpolarized light. Unpolarized light means it is light produced by ordinary sources of light, just like a bulb or a sun, etc. That contains electric field vectors vibrating in all possible directions. So this also can be understood because every source of light is produced by vibration of charges. For example, in the case of the sun, there are hydrogen ions which are in a very high temperature conditions on the surface of the sun, and every hydrogen atom contains electrons, and in these high temperature conditions, electrons are in transition. It is jumping up and down. That means oscillating. This oscillating charges produce a time-varying electric field. Time-varying electric field generates a time-varying magnetic field. Time-varying electric field and magnetic field at a time simultaneously when produced in a medium, that is what is called electromagnetic wave. Now I tell you that how light contains electric field vectors vibrating in all possible directions. because any source of light contains a large number of atoms. Every atom contains so many electrons. Every electron is vibrating. So every electron is producing electromagnetic waves of electric field vector lying in a particular plane. So a light produced by any source of light contains electric field vector vibrating in all possible directions. That is shown by this diagram. Now this is a Polaroid. Polaroid is a special kind of crystal that has a crystallographic axis. That is, you can call it as pass axis. One of the vectors, one of the electric field components when come here, that contains, I told you, that can be resolved into two components. One component may be parallel to the axis of the crystal, other can be perpendicular to the axis of the crystal. That component which is parallel to the crystal is allowed to pass through the crystal, while the component which is perpendicular to the pass axis is absorbed by it. Hence, only half part, that means only half part of the electric field vector is allowed to transmit through the crystal. Hence, the intensity of light is reduced to just now. Next diagram. And this is, the same thing can be shown here also. This is a Polaroid. Polaroid is a crystal. In the market, its name is tourmaline. Tourmaline crystal. Tourmaline crystal, what is the speciality of that? That has a pass axis. These are the pass axes. Those pass axes which are parallel to the direction of propagation, direction of the field vector, those field vectors parallel to the axis of this crystal are allowed to pass vibrations only. There are so many vibrations having different electric field vectors vibrating in different directions. All possible planes are shown here. And when passed to the crystal, only one plane, only the electric field vector is vibrating. This is neither Polaroid. So these two Polaroids are kept perpendicular to each other. This is like this and the other one is like this. That means the pass axes are perpendicular to each other. Now, one component which is parallel to the axis of this crystal is allowed to pass. But coming here, these vibrations are perpendicular axis of the next crystal. Hence, light is not allowed to pass through. So we see that the component which is coming to the second crystal is selectively absorbed by the crystal. Hence, the intensity of light passing out of the second crystal is equal to 0. Suppose if the intensity of light which is incident on the crystal is I0, and here it is equal to I0 by 2, and here it is equal to 0. So this is about polarization explained. Polarization explained. So right. So here also next page, and we are coming to the next part of this. So this is also done. I0 by 2. Everything is done. To know the light transmitted by the polarizer is polarized or not. Polarized or not means 100% plain polarized or not. We are using neither crystal. The name of that crystal is analyzer. So two crystals usually used. One is called polarizer and other is called analyzer. Polarizer polarizes the light. Once the light is polarized, where it is completely plain polarized or not, to examine that we use neither polarizer, that is called analyzer, that we have seen in the last piece, right? So if the pass axis of the crystal is parallel to the component of the electric field, that will be allowed to pass through it. If both the crystals, I say the polarizer and analyzer both are parallel to each other, the light which is incident on the polarizer, one part is allowed to pass through it. That means here it is I0, here it is in the middle, it is I0 by 2, and if both the crystals are parallel, here also it is I0 by 2. So if I say, if one crystal is kept here like this and other is kept here like this, the intensity here in the middle part is I0 by 2, and the other side it is also I0 by 2, because both the axes are parallel to each other. Keeping these two like this, if the polarizer is kept as it is and analyzer is slowly rotated, you will see on the other side of the analyzer, the amount of light transmitted goes on decreasing and finally becomes equal to 0 when the axes are getting perpendicular to each other. We say that the light which is incident on the analyzer was completely 100% plane polarized. And this is about polarization of light. You have seen that how the unpolarized light and polarized light can be represented. Figure number one we have seen. Figure number one we have seen. This is the way how we can represent the unpolarized light. This is also quite difficult to draw. This is also unpolarized light. In figure number two, the one of the polarization component is resolved into two components. Now you see, this lines are parallel to this whiteboard, and also these dots are there. These dots are representing planes perpendicular to the plane of the board. So this is the usual method to represent unpolarized light, and the original method is this. How this can be explained? This can be explained as every ordinary light, that light is produced by so many atoms in it. Atoms at very high temperature conditions, the electrons are excited. Excited electrons are vibrating electrons. Vibrating electrons produces time-varying electric field. Time-varying electric field is the generator of time-varying magnetic field. Both when produced together, electromagnetic wave is a result. And in light produced by an ordinary light, the electric field vectors are vibrating in all possible directions. Why? Because the vibration of every electron in an atom is done in a random manner. Hence, the electric field vectors produced by two atoms or two electrons can never be same. Therefore, various electrons are there. Every electron produces electric field. All these electric field vectors are vibrating in so many planes. That is why this is the original method of representing unpolarized light. The usual method for the sake of explanation, we take the unpolarized light is represented like this also. This condition is very simple. That means one polarization component of the electric field is consisting of two electric field components. Both are acting in two perpendicular planes, one in this plane and the other is a perpendicular plane. Due to both these electric fields, the total intensity is equal to I0. So this is another method, and this is completely plain polarized light. That means in this case you see the perpendicular component. That means the component of the electric field which is perpendicular to the path axis has been absorbed by this crystal. Now the light which is transmitted by this crystal contains only one electric field component. That we can say that the electric field vector now, after transmitting through the polarizer, is confined to vibrate in a single plane only. This is 100% plane polarized. This is the way how we represent. So this is vibrations in the plane of the paper, and this is vibration perpendicular to the plane of the paper. Next. So this is about, next is law of Malus. Law of Malus. According to law of Malus, when completely plain polarized light is incident on an analyzer, we have polarizer and analyzer both. When light incident on an analyzer from the polarizer, the intensity of light transmitted by the analyzer is directly proportional to the square of the cosine of the angle between the polarizer and analyzer axis. This is called Malus's law. Malus's law is very important. Once again, I am going to speak Malus's law. According to Malus's law, the intensity of light transmitted by an analyzer is directly proportional to the square of the cosine of the angle between the analyzer axis and the polarizer axis, that is theta. So next diagram, we are going to see the next diagram, and that is here. This is the polarizer axis and this is the analyzer axis, right? E0 represents the amplitude of the incident light, because amplitude is directly proportional to square of the intensity is directly proportional to square of the amplitude. So the light which is transmitted by the polarizer has an amplitude of the electric field vector is equal to E0. Hence we can write I0, that means the intensity of light transmitted by the polarizer, I0 is directly proportional to E0 square. Right? This E0 can be resolved into two components at this stage. That can be having two components, one is E0 cos theta and also E0 sin theta, where theta is the angle between the analyzer axis and the polarizer axis. Now, out of the two components, E0 cos theta is parallel to the analyzer axis, while E0 sin theta is perpendicular to the analyzer axis. That component E0 cos theta, which is parallel to the analyzer axis, is allowed to transmit, while E0 sin theta is selectively absorbed by it. Hence, the intensity of light coming out of the analyzer goes on varying. That only we have said in this case. So, first case we can write I0 proportional to E0 square. Why I0 proportional to E0 square? Why I0 proportional to E0 square? Because intensity is directly proportional to square of the amplitude. Right? Now, after passing through the analyzer, the intensity is I. Intensity is I. Remember that? After passing through the polarizer, intensity is I0. After passing through the analyzer, the intensity is I. Therefore, in the second case, the intensity of light transmitted by the analyzer is given by I proportional to E0 square cos square theta. So, this is equation number 1, this is equation number 2. So, equation 2 by 1 we will get I by I0 is equal to E0 cos square theta divided by E0 square is equal to cos square theta. So, that is I is equal to I0 cos square theta. I0 is a constant, hence we can write I is directly proportional to cos square theta. This is Malus's law. So, from this expression is very important because cos square theta depends, that means angle between analyzer axis and analyzer axis and polarizer axis. When they are parallel, here it is I0, here it is I0 by 2, here it is also I0 by 2. When these two axes are now one is kept as it is and other is gradually rotated. Theta goes on increasing. When becomes equal to 90 degree. According to this relation, you know, I is equal to I0 cos square theta. The value of intensity of light transmitted by the analyzer is equal to 0. So, at any angle between the two axes, the value of intensity of light transmitted by the analyzer can be calculated. Now, one more thing you have to remember is that sometimes light transmitted by the polarizer is not completely plane polarized. In that situation, though when we rotate the analyzer, the intensity of light which is transmitted to the analyzer may go on decreasing, but it will never comes to 0. In that case, we will judge that the light which is coming out of the polarizer was not completely plane polarized. The light intensity becomes 0 when both the axes become crossed, or when both the axes becomes 90 degree. Only if the light which is transmitted by analyzer was completely plane polarized, then only the light transmitted by the analyzer when angle theta is 90 degree will be 0. Otherwise, that is not equal to 0. Now, it is sure that when the axis, that means when the angle goes on increasing, angle goes on increasing, there will be change in the value of intensity, but it will never go 0. So, this is the case of partially polarized. Light can be completely plane polarized and also light can be partially polarized also. So, this is Malus's law. It is very important. What is called I is equal to I0 cos square theta. What is theta? Theta is angle between the analyzer axis and the polarizer axis.